back to front. Oh, my days, my friend. You are so funny. All the will in the world, you always stuff it somehow. Right, that says that's working. We're 58 seconds in. What we got going here? 13 people, a whole 13 people are waiting. There's 4. Okay. That doesn't work. There's a dodgy noise on my line there. There's no way my microphone's working properly. Just give up. Matt's nasal hair. This makes me smile every time I see that. Why has it done that? Because I'm not even on the right channel now, am I? So I'm going to walk away. I'm going to reboot. I'm going to reboot this. I'm going to reboot this, and I will come back, hopefully on the right channel with a microphone that actually works. Because at the moment, that is not right. There's no way I'm spending the whole night listening to me like a robot. So bear with me. Keep your eye on the main page because we might end up changing streams. I'm really sorry. I've not done this for 150 days. So give me a minute. Actually, why does it take me there? It takes me to an old stream. Weird. Right, well, that's there. That's there. Have I at least got one person watching this? Because this is embarrassing. Well, there are 2 people in the chat at least. So, hello. I don't know what that was. I just yeeted it off the side. Probably my laptop. Just did that. Right. Hello, everybody. Indeed, I am here. I am running solo. I've got a treat for you this evening. Hopefully, you can see me, you can hear me, and my voice doesn't sound robotic. I've got a new setup. Thanks to all of you. To be honest, have you got a new microphone? Might as well show it to you. Here it is. It's a nice Sennheiser thing, which means, let me just mute myself because I can't cope with that. So, which means there's no big, massive microphone. I'm sure you'll all remember my King B, which sits here, and it's in the way. It's great for podcasting, but it doesn't work for when you're trying to hold a conversation with a guest and stuff. So I've gone for the Sennheiser. That means clear screen, and I don't need to worry about it. It just works. So thank you. Thank you very much. So we're here tonight to discuss the recent RNSs for Greatland Gold. I'm running solo, so I'm experimenting this evening. I've got for you prepared a script. I'm not going to lie, because I've been working all day on another project, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. I've not had any time to prepare for this. So, and I only found out that I was running solo a few hours ago. So what I have for you is a script. It's been helped by my producer, who may or may not be part of an AI system. There could be some absolute howlers in here. There could also be some absolute outright ramping, which I take nothing to do with me. I'm reading this blind. All right. So, but hopefully we get to go through this. We get to discuss it. We get to talk about it, and we make a show out of it. All right. So if you are here, what are we now at 24 minutes late? Probably the latest yet out of all of them. If you are here after 24 minutes, I can see the chat coming up, and we'll address that in the time, but I can't look at it and not look at you. So, yeah, thank you for joining me. Let's get on with this show. And I appreciate you being here. It's a warm up to something I might have going on tomorrow. So the fact this works means that's grand. So here we go. Q1 2025 results, RNS. This is from the 4th of April 2025. No, that's not. There you go. Hey everyone, welcome to this deep dive on Greatland Gold. Tonight we're walking through the company's Q1 2025 performance, strategic updates on Telfer, Havieron, and the structural shift coming with the ASX listing. This is a big picture update. Operations, financials, resource development, and a roadmap ahead. Let's begin. Operations, we have a production of 90,172 ounces of gold and 3,511 tons of copper at an all-in sustaining cost of 2,126 Australian dollars an ounce, which I believe is around about £13.65 if my memory serves me rightly. Please pop it in the chat if I'm wrong. I'm happy to be wrong. Gold production was 21% higher, with an all-in sustained cost lower than Greatland's initial pre-acquisition mine plan. The quarterly average is set to be 74,800 ounces at 2,200 all-in sustained costs. Oh, wait, let's go back a little bit. So pre-acquisition, the quarterly average, and I'm reading this on like 3 lines at a time. So the pre-acquisition, they suggested there was going to be 74,800 ounces at an all-in sustained costs of $2,203, but we have 91,172 ounces of gold and 3,511 tons of copper at 2,126. So significant savings. A significantly improved gold recoveries of 86.7% compared to the assumed average gold recovery of 78% in the pre-acquisition plan. Continued optimization of processing remains a key focus. The new West Dome open pit mining area, Stage 7 cutback, was approved and commenced mining. Greatland's first major dual train planned maintenance of the processing plant was successfully completed in late March to early April. There was no lost time during the quarter. 12-month lost time injury frequency rate. That's an LTI that's referred to. Actually it says here in brackets LTIFR. At quarter end was 0, which is always a great thing. Mine safety is very, very important, as we all know. And yeah, I think that's just the key line there, isn't it? Is mine safety is really, really important. So this is exactly what you wanted to see in a transitional quarter. Production came in hot at 90,000 plus ounces, a full 21% above what was expected in the pre-acquisition plan. Costs were lower than expected too, and that 86.7% recovery rate, that's not marginal improvement, that's a multi-million-dollar margin uplift. I didn't write that. Somebody else did. The Stage 7 cutback is now delivering ore that gives runaway for feedstock. And safety, not a single lost time injury. That speaks volumes about operational discipline under new ownership. Let's just have a quick check of how we're doing there in the comments. Hello, everybody in the comments. How are we doing? I'm in the mood for a rap session, says Wild Bill UK 999. Very good. Just hello, everybody. There's a few of you in. I appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for stopping by. And yeah, let's move on to section 2. Corporate performance. I've lost my mouse now. Here it is. Corporate performance. We've got sales of 89,125 ounces gold and 3,705 tonnes of copper at a weighted average realised price of Aussie 4,585 ounces of gold and 13,140 tonnes of copper, generating revenue of 458 million Australian dollars. 458 million Australian dollars. I wonder if you can get a Lambo with that. Or I wonder how many Lambos you could get with that is probably the right question. I wrote that, not the producer. Free cash flow of 253 million Aussie dollars and 398 million Aussie dollars. No, slow down. Free cash flow of 250. I'll tell you what it is, right? I'm just going to stop right there. I'll tell you what it is, right? It's because it doesn't say Aussie dollars. If it said on my wee screen here in front of me, Aussie dollars, I'd read Aussie dollars, but because it's got the whole A and dollar sign, I have to think about that, and my multitasking really isn't very good sometimes. So free cash flow of Australian 253 million back to the front dollars and Australian 398 million dollars of cash. The balance at the 31st of March 2025. We're debt-free with undrawn Aussie 75 million working capital facility. There's a full upside exposure to the gold price with downside prices protected provided from gold with put options at 3,905 Aussie dollars. I'm really not looking forward to this becoming a fully ASX company. It was much better when it was in pounds, I'm not going to lie. And there's also 4,200 ounces for calendar year 26. So they actually said that, oh, gold put options, I see. Okay, the ASX cross listing is targeted for June 2025. The financials tell a story of high margin performance. Greatland sold most of what it produced, nearly 90,000 ounces, and locked in strong gold prices doing it. The 253 million in free cash flow means they've added 145 million to the cash position in just 3 months. No debt. A war chest for growth. That's quite rampy, isn't it? A war chest for growth. I like that. Plus, they're fully exposed to the upside with gold prices with a safety net of put options. And keep your eye on that last line, the cross listing on ASX and AIM in June. That's our next section. Well, actually, that's the last section. But anyway. Any comments? Can I sing that? Hey, Wendy. How are you? Haven't seen you for a long time. Mr. Hines is in the studio as well. Thank you very much for joining me. And it's just nice to see loads of familiar names in there. Thank you so much. Thank you. Didn't we just do that section? I think we just did that section. Okay. So anyway, the financial guidance for Greatland. So as we've spoke about, 196,000 to 210,000 ounces. Is this for financial year 25? Okay, all-in sustained cost 2,100 to 2,200 Aussie dollars. Growth capital is 95 to 105 million, and this represents approximately 7 months of Greatland ownership from completion of the Telfer acquisition on the 4th of December to the 30th of June 2025. Okay, so they're expected to produce about 200,000 ounces to the end of the financial year. Okay, that makes sense. This is a transitional year. They have only owned Telfer from December onwards, so full year numbers aren't apples to apples with other producers, but still impressive. They're forecasting nearly 200,000 ounces, just over 7 months, and they put in 95 to 105 Aussie dollars, million dollars, back into the growth funding for Javieron development drives, drilling, all from cash. The Telfer Mineral Resource MRE. Oh, that's the next section. Has anyone got any questions? Have I missed the point that chat's not? Is chat moving? Someone just hit send or something, and he's just all paying attention. Is that what's going on? There's a heart there. Thank you very much. If you just hit the heart, someone's still here at least. Okay. Oh dear, our mouse needs to go onto the third screen. We've got 3 screens when this setup's live. So, hey, Bamps. Is Bamps in the house? If Bamps is in the house, I am honoured. Bamps, good evening, sir. It's been too long. About time we sat down, I think, and got you on this channel. Give us some hearts for Bamps, please do. Absolutely. The Telfer Mineral Resource inaugural Telfer MRE completed on the 18th of March, delivering 3.2 million ounces of gold and 117 kilotons of copper, confirming Telfer mine life extension potential. The group MRE included Javieron, now totals 10.2 million ounces of gold and 387 kilotons of copper. The initial Telfer ore reserve is underway, targeted for completion in April 2025. The drilling results from the maiden underground drilling campaign at West Dome Underground confirmed high grade near. Sorry, out of the corner of my eye, all I can see are these hearts flicking up. So loads of love for Bamps there. I'll start from the top. There it is. From the maiden underground drilling campaign at West Dome Underground confirmed high grade near mine underground opportunity. 16 of 19 holes drilled intercepted more than 50 gram meters of gold, with the average downhole intercept from those 16 holes of 23.2 meters at 2.95 grams per ton gold and 1.07% copper. That's good. The drilling program's success led to a second 1.8 kilometre development drive from the main dome underground to West Dome Underground being approved and commenced in March 2025. High priority main dome underground A-reef extensions and Eastern Stockwork Corridor, the ESC, were drilled during the quarter with encouraging results. This resource update is huge. Telfer now carries 3.2 million ounces of gold, and that doesn't even include the new reserve updates or deeper extensions. The West Dome UG is shaping up as a real prize. 16 of 19 holes hit more than 50 gram meters, with intercepts averaging over 23 meters and nearly 3 grams per ton of gold. They're following up with a 1.8 kilometer development drive, committing to making it real. ESC and A-reef also showing early promise. All signs point to organic resource growth with optionality from multiple zones. Anyone got any questions? No, I keep going. It's cool. I'm happy to keep going. I'm just paranoid that all of a sudden I'm going to turn around and everyone's going to left. Let's begin with a 2-year outlook for Telfer. LuxP says the best thing is Bamps actually got 2.8 MTPA max wrong. He's the best and glad he's so strong on the shit side with all the FUD. I missed that bit because I don't really frequent the other side. So sorry, but he wasn't too far out, was he? 2.8 to 3. Is that what we're saying? He under anyway, Excuse me, itchy nose. I'm trying to talk about something I have no idea about, so I'll just stop. The ESC and A Reef also showing early signs of promise. All signs point to organic resources growth. The problem you've got when you've only got 4 lines of text is if you scroll one way without thinking about it, you lose where you are. I did that bit. ESC and A Reef also showing early signs of promise. All signs point to organic resource growth with optionality from multiple zones. Let's begin with a 2-year outlook for Telfer. Greatland has only owned Telfer for 5 months, and in that time, they've added 18 months of production life to the plan. That's a huge accomplishment. And it's based on a mix of mine planning, drilling confidence, and an integration of stockpile ore. They've committed to dual train production through financial year 26 and financial year 27, meaning both processing lines are running, targeting between 280 and 320,000 ounces of gold per year, plus 7 to 11,000 tonnes of copper. That's not a tapering operation, that's a high volume, stable production. Now, costs will increase slightly in financial year 27 up to 2,950 Australian dollars per ounce, as more fresh ore is mined and less is pulled from the stockpiles. But that's normal. More mining means more cost, but also means more flexibility and long-term reserve health. This 2-year window also bridges the gap to Javieron, which starts production in financial year 28. That's critical because it means there's no downtime, no drop in throughput, no idle infrastructure, just a seamless operational handoff. I don't know if I'm repeating this. I might have pasted it twice. GGP has only owned Telfer for 5 months. Yes, I think I'm copying this. How are we all doing? We've got an itchy nose. Frankie's in the house. Whoop, whoop. Oh, I see. So Bamp said 2.8 million ounces on Javieron, but Greatland have now put up today and said, well, we're probably looking more at 4 to 4.5. That's fair. I mean, at the end of the day, Bamps is doing this with 2 hands tied behind his back and without a pen, compared to what the information they've got. So if he's got that close, Bamps in it, amazing Bamps. Doth my cap to you, sir. I'd love to get your take on Telfer someday. I might be repeating myself here, I don't know, but I'm just going to keep going because I'm doing this all by myself, and it's the first time I've done it like this. But as long as you are still there making comments, I will just keep waffling at you. GGP has only owned Telfer for 5 months, and they've already extended the mine plan by 18 months. That's huge confidence boost. It means that early drilling, modelling, and ore planning are working. The dual train production to continue with annual average production of 280 to 320 kilo ounces of gold, plus 7 to 11 kilotons of copper. Dual train means both processing lines are running at full capacity. And I didn't say this, somebody else wrote this. That's about 17 million tons of ore processed per year. Okay, I thought it was closer to 20, but I'll take that, unless it's taken that from an actual document. Those are strong, steady volumes, and they bridge the gap right up to Javieron in financial year 28. The all-in sustaining cost is expected to increase in financial year 27 as more mined inventory is processed versus stockpiles. But the stockpiles are cheap to process, and when they switch to more active mining in financial year 27, costs rising slightly, but that's expected. Still, they're forecasting the all-in sustaining cost between 2,400 and 2,950, which is it's actually given to me in GBP. £1,275,000 to £1,560,000 per ounce, which, I mean, even in financial year 27, if we're still kicking above $3,000 an ounce, I'm pretty sure that means we're still making tons of money. Let's talk ore reserves. So the company's first full reserve statement since acquiring the asset. As of December the 31st, 2024, Greatland has declared 712,000 ounces of gold and 23,000 tonnes of copper in proven and probable reserves at Telfer. That includes high-grade ore from West Dome open pit, robust ROM stockpiles, low-grade inventory, and even some residual dump leach material. That's not just a number, it's security. It's what gives us next 2 years of processing and a foundation. And the timing matters too. This reserve was put together just 19 weeks after the acquisition was completed and only 4 weeks after the mineral resource estimate was released. The grade may not look flashy. The grade may not look flashy, around 0.48 grams per tonne gold overall, but the volume and consistency matter more. This is the bulk tonnage that feeds the plant reliably and profitably. Money. This is the first formal reserve they've published under their ownership, and it's not just it's not just tons, it's tons with economic certainty. Highlights: 273 kilo ounces of gold from West Dome open pit, 209 kilo ounces from the ROM stockpiles, these are high grade, 215 kilo ounces from low grade stockpiles, and 15 kilo ounces from the dump leach. Together, 712,000 ounces of gold, 23,000 tonnes of copper. These are the blocks that feed the plant through financial year 27. Shaun Day had this to say. I nearly did a very, very, very bad Shaun Day impression then, and that would not be a good look because someone would just clip it and send it to him, and I just, no. After only 5 months since the acquisition, this initial updated Telfer outlook already provides a substantial 18-month extension expected to deliver on average 280 to 320,000 ounces of gold plus copper per year. That's not just optimism, that's execution. They're using their cash flow to fund development, not relying on capital markets. They're aiming to reinvest intelligently and use the current strength at Telfer to prepare for Javieron's contribution. I see what I've just done. I've read the entire 2 paragraphs as if Shaun said it, and actually there was Shaun's comment, and then there was some elaboration. So let's just try that again. We'll call that a test. After only 5 months since the acquisition, this initial updated Telfer outlook already provides a substantial 18-month extension. Expected to deliver on average 280 to 320,000 ounces of gold plus copper per year. Pause. That's not just optimism, that's execution. They're using their cash flow to fund development, not relying on capital markets. They're aiming to reinvest intelligently and use the current strength at Telfer to prepare for Javieron's contribution. Shaun. What did I put in my cup of tea? Shaun goes on to say, this is an excellent financial outcome that allows us to reinvest in Telfer and provides us the confidence that completion of Javieron's development can be funded by existing cash, future Telfer cash flows and debt finance. Provides us the confidence that the completion, I think there's some words missing there, the reinvest in Telfer and provides us the confidence that the completion of Javieron's development can be funded by existing cash, future Telfer cash flows, and debt finance. That's a roadmap. It says we're not just hoping Javieron delivers, we're building the system to make sure it does. That's really important. This quote matters because it frames the secure production, extended mine life, reinforced confidence with cash flow, and sets up Javieron to take over seamlessly in financial year 28. We can maintain our workforce and infrastructure for first gold from Javieron, expected to result in a step change reduction in all-in sustained costs. That's a perfect segue into Javieron. Just check to see what is going on over in the comments. Not very much. That's cool. Because you are watching so diligently and hanging on my every word, undoubtedly. Thank you. Right, now to Javieron. This project is no longer just in development, it's a motion with scale. Originally scoped, excuse me. Originally scoped for 2.8 million tonnes per annum, this new feasibility study now targets up to 4.5 million tonnes per annum. Isn't that what Babs just said? That's a 60% increase in throughput. Wowzers. And it's all enabled by smart underground planning. They're installing an underground crusher and haulage system rather than duplicating surface infrastructure. That means more gold, lower costs, and higher margin per ounce, especially with the grade at Javieron still sitting at around 3 grams per tonne for reserves and over 2.6 grams per tonne for indicated resources. What's especially exciting in net ounce per vertical meter metric, the first 300 meters of the ore body averages more than 9,150 ounces per meter. That's globally competitive, and it sets up Javieron to drive company-wide costs into the lowest quartile once it ramps. First gold is expected in financial year 28, pending the feasibility completion in the second half of 2025. Pause. Because I mean, I perused the RNS earlier, and I read it and I copied it and I pasted it and stuck it into the Greatland Telegram highlights, as I always do. But this next part really is quite significant for our story, because we've been sat on this 2.8 million ounces for such a long time now, and it's Javieron, isn't it? You know, we own 25-30% of it, and now all of a sudden we own 100% of it. And on what they just said today, or I can't remember which order these RNSs came out in, and I've jumbled it all up on my order here for you, but this is a 43 to 60% increase from the original plan. And it's smart. They're not building a brand new plant. They're using Telfer's infrastructure to keep the capex low. The ore reserve shows a grade of 25, is that million tons? It must be. 25 million tons at 3 grams per ton gold and 0.44% copper. That's high-grade material, and it's next door. It will lower group all-in sustained costs dramatically, making Greatland globally competitive on cost. The first 300 vertical meters averaging 9,150 ounces per vertical meter. Let's explain that. Oh, look, it's done a little explainer for me. Let's explain that. OPVM, ounces per vertical meter, over 9,000 ounces per vertical meter is elite. That means high efficiency, tight drilling spacing, and great underground economics. Any questions? Frankie has just given me a load of rockets. Fair. Yash has asked, does anyone know the potential dividend bite me per share in the future? No, but there was some talk over on Telegram recently where we were looking at, and I think it was Strudel had up all of the Aussie miners and showed the dividends that were paid out. And actually, what's surprising is not many companies pay dividends. But we know Shaun is a dividend kind of guy because he said that himself to a room full of people. And so I think it's safe to say that there is a good chance that we will get dividends. What that is, perhaps look at the Aussies and, you know, and sort of get a market feel for it really to see what there is, and maybe just gauge that as where it might be a starting point is somewhere in there. I mean, it might be a lot more, it might be a bit less. It's hard to say really without the company giving formal guidance. Beyond 2027, Greatland has even more options. They're looking at further stages of mining from the West Dome open pit, including Stage 7 extension and nearly 20 million tonnes of low-grade stockpile material. Underground, they're drilling deeper into the main dome and exploring West Dome underground, which will become a brand new mining front. This is important. It's not just about maintaining ounces, it's about sustaining flexibility. If gold prices rise, they can accelerate. If they need margin, they can optimize. The ore is in place. They just need to sequence and schedule it. And remember, the ASX listing is expected in June. That's another lever, opening up capital access in Australia and enhancing liquidity on a platform that understands mining at its core. They're already planning out a financial year 28. I really missed the cues on this. I've got little emojis that tell me, and I think the brain sign is saying this is a thought. I should read it as a thought. They're already planning out financial year 28. Even before Javieron kicks in fully, they keep Telfer running on stockpiles and fresh extensions. The group reserves, including Javieron, increased to 71 million tonnes at 1.36 grams per tonne gold and 0.19% copper for 3.1 million ounces. Oh, I do love it when they do this because I don't read it properly. Increased to 71 million tonnes at 1.36 grams per tonne gold and 0.19% copper for 3.1 million ounces gold and 132 kilotons of copper. Now we're talking scale. Over 3 million ounces in reserves across the company, with exploration still ongoing. So what's exactly going on? Greatland is restructuring, and the core of this plan is the creation of a new parent company. Greatland Resources Limited, which will be incorporated in Australia under its new structure of all the Greatland Group current operations, assets and subsidiaries, will sit beneath that new company. The reorganisation is being conducted through a formal legal process in the UK called Scheme of Arrangement. That process is already in motion, with documents filed to the UK courts as of April the 11th and court hearings scheduled for April the 23rd. If approved, the circular will be set to shareholders on April the 24th. Then on May 12th, shareholders will vote in a series of scheme meetings to approve the reorganisation, assuming it passes the ASX listing and AIM admission for the new company, expected to go live in late June. Here's what happens to your shares if you're a Greatland Gold shareholder. Your holdings will convert on a 20-to-1 basis. For every 20 Greatland Gold shares you currently hold, you'll receive 1 share in Greatland Resources Limited. That's a consolidation, not dilution. The value is preserved out of the structure. Say that again. The value is preserved, but the structure becomes cleaner. From June 23rd onwards, your shares will trade under the same ticker, GGP, just in a new legal wrapper. So why do this? What's the purpose of this reorganisation? The ASX listing is about positioning. It gives Greatland access to Australian institutional capital, mining-focused investors, and index eligibility. That's a big word. Index eligibility in one of the strongest markets globally for resource companies, and that can be seen on the company's presentation that was released. I'm going to say recently, but the company website, you can see it. It's a really good graphic. I use it quite a bit. As the RNS puts it, and I quote, the ASX is considered a natural listing venue for mining companies, especially those whose core assets are located in Australia. I mean, that just makes total sense, doesn't it? Everything Australian to be in London legally just gives you a headache, and it eats into your profits. And Greatland's assets are 100% located in Australia. Its staff, also in Australia. Its operational focus, integrated gold and copper development, also in Australia. So this isn't just about ticking boxes, it's aligning the company structure with its footprint. It also simplifies regulatory and tax management, gives the company more strategic flexibility for M&A, and potentially reduces costs over the long term. That's what I just said. And here's the big one. It creates a potential for more liquidity and institutional interest, especially from Australian funds that might not otherwise invest in a UK-only company. Here's what Shaun Day's Managing Director had to say. It's quoted the wrong part because it actually says, here's what Shaun Day, Greatland's Managing Director, had to say. And this is in quotes. Let's hear what Greatland's Managing Director Shaun Day had to say about all of this. That's funny. We're delighted to have formally begun the process today of our listing on the ASX. The acquisition of Telfer and Havieron transformed Greatland Gold into a leading Australian gold and copper producer. He goes on to say the ASX listing should enhance our capital markets profile and help facilitate increased research coverage and greater institutional ownership. While we see the ASX listing as important, it's supporting the continued growth of long-term shareholder value. We remain committed to the AIM market. That last line is key. It's not about abandoning AIM, it's about expanding access. You'll still be able to trade GGP on AIM, or invest, if you prefer, even after the reorganisation. Now it will just be a dual listing, the company that gives the best of both markets and gives you more flexibility as a shareholder. Shaun also confirmed that Greatland remains committed to AIM, so this isn't a move away, it's a move to expand. Let's talk timeline and shareholder support. As of now, the UK court documents filed April 11th, court hearings on April 23rd, the shareholder vote on May 12th, and the share consolidation and ASX listing goes live June 23rd, June 24th. And importantly, the plan already has a strong backing. Greatland's board of directors unanimously supports the reorganisation and will vote in favour with their own shares. On top of that, the 3 largest shareholders, Newmont, Wyloo and Tembo, who collectively hold around 35% of the company, have all agreed to vote in favour. That's a huge endorsement. There's also the possibility of a small new share offer up to 2.5% to support initial ASX liquidity. That hasn't been confirmed yet, and if it happens, it'll be handled via prospectus with limited availability, not a general offer to the public. And as much discussion has been had on the topic in Telegram, Australian institutions will have access, UK institutions will have access, and actually I don't know if it says that, but private investors in the UK will have access. Australian investors in Australia will not have access. And as for Newmont's large holding, it's locked up for 12 months, but the company in Newmont could agree to allow a small sell down for liquidity purposes. Half of Newmont's holding is also under a call option to Wyloo, meaning it can't be sold without agreement. He says, just looking over. So everything is carefully structured and well supported and moving in a clear timeline. To wrap this up, here's the big picture. I should have some tea before I cheers, by the way. Cheers to you. Cheers to everybody that stayed up late to watch this. I appreciate it. Thank you. Greatland Gold is transforming into a globally listed Australian headquartered producer. One that's aiming scale, efficiency, and visibility on both sides of the world. This listing will not change what the company owns. It will not change who's in charge. It won't even change your ticker, but it will change the way the company interacts with investors and opens the door to more capital, better research coverage, and long-term optionality. And now it's given me a bunch of tick emojis. The production is above plan, the costs are below plan, the recoveries are up, the safety is strong, the cash is stacked, development is advancing, and listing is on ASX on the way. Frankie, might be a good time to throw some rocket emojis after that lot. Greatland has transitioned from a JV developer into a fully fledged operator with scale, funding, and momentum. Drop your questions in the chat and let me know what stood out for you the most. And if you're watching the replay, oh God, this is so cheesy. I'm going to say it anyway. If you're watching the replay, hit the comments, like, and subscribe for more. Ladies and gentlemen, I am now at the end of my scriptage. So we are now riffing. What do you think? Tell me. Let's throw me some questions. I appreciate there is a delay from what I say to what you write. So yeah, but I mean, let's be honest, right? This has been, it's been a life journey. It really has. Like when I let's just say I make it to, I don't know, 90, and they say to me like, BR, what's stood out for you in your life? These 4 or 5 years have been pretty crazy. There's been a lot happening in the world. There's been a lot happening in life. And yet there's been this constant of being up every morning. And one of the first apps I check, sometimes before I even message my wife if she's at work, is to you lot to say morning Greatlanders. And that's important. That's like what you could see, what you can't see. I don't know. I would imagine some of you see it. Is the transformation that's happened in my life to me, for me. More on that later. It's probably not the time or the place to go deep into my mental headspace. But you've been here, and we've shared the ups and downs together. Sometimes our ups and downs have been at the same time. Other times our ups and downs have not. But this has been a journey, and I want to thank you for being part of my journey in this. Because without you, it wouldn't have been what it was. I wouldn't have the opportunity to do this. And I would love to be able to make for you a regular full production that just sings. You know, I'm doing these once every quarter now. Excuse me, I've now got a GI. I'm only doing these once a quarter, and that's sad. 2025, I want to make more videos. I want to interview more people. Only interviewing Shaun once every quarter just doesn't cut it. and I've threatened it for a long time, and I've not had the confidence. But for 2025, I'm feeling it. I'm working on my own side project for my own personal space. Eamon has taught me a lot. When I look back at my first 10 years of broadcasting, and I use that term very lightly. I mean, YouTube, podcasts, um, to what the standard that I produce today, it's huge, and part of the reason is because of you. Without doing what I do for you, I wouldn't now be in this position that I find myself in with my own productions. So thank you. Hopefully that's spent enough time for a couple of questions or comments to appear that I can read out. What were you saying about UK has access? Aussies don't have access. I half caught what you said, and it sounded interesting. So according to the RNS, when you read it, it looks like that through a scheme of arrangement, I think is what it said, a little bit further up, so I can probably find the exact wording. It's the prospectus. It looks like probably like what happened in the previous raise. You've got to prove that you've got a holding in order to get shares. So I'm guessing at that that's what happened last time. So but it very clearly states, and let me see if I can jump on Telegram and grab it, because it was in the RNS, wasn't it? Was it that RNS? No, it was the previous RNS. That one. ASX listing. So no decision has been made as to whether an offer of shares will be conducted as part of the ASX listing to Greatland Resources. A prospectus in respect of any offer of securities in Greatland Resources will be made available when those securities are offered. Anyone who wants to acquire and who may be eligible to acquire securities in Greatland Resources under prospectus will need to complete the application form and accompany the prospectus in otherwise accordance with the prospectus. Now, where did I pick it up about who? I was quoting it earlier today, so it's definitely around here. The question is where is it? Perhaps if the producer is still online, you could drop me a DM if you find it before I do, please. Because now we're riffing, and now this is where this starts to fall apart for me, and I start to panic. I was quoting it earlier. I was like, no, this is the quote. Look what it says. There's the... for reference. And I linked it to that. Here you go. So it was a slightly different RNS. No decision has been made yet as to whether to offer shares. An offer of shares will be... Let me move it over to... can't. All right. I was gonna move it over to you, so I could read it to you, but I can't. So I'm afraid you'll have to see me ignoring you. No decision has been made yet as to whether an offer of shares will be conducted as part of the ASX listing. The company is considering the merits of a modest offering of new shares in Greatland Resources to assist creating interest and liquid market for new shares on the ASX. In the event of the company deciding to undertake such an offering, it would be no more than 2.5% of the issued share capital of Greatland Resources. There'll be no general offer to the public in Australia, and any UK investor participation would be facilitated within a prospectus exemption in the UK. A prospectus in respect of any offer of securities in Greatland Resources will be made available to those when those securities are offered. Anyone who wants to acquire may be eligible to acquire securities in Greatland Resources under a prospectus, which will need to complete the application form that will accompany the prospectus and otherwise in accordance with the prospectus. So I read that as, and I'll find the document to quote it from so you can go and look at it for yourself, because that's really, really important. I see that as they're going to do exactly what they did in December, and in order for you to get your hands on Greatland Gold shares, you've got to be in the UK, and you've got to be a Greatland Gold shareholder already in terms of UK investor participation. That's us. We are the UK investors. Whoop whoop. Yes, I just let out a slightly whoop whoop. So you're looking for Oh, the actual ASX listing process update, the UK scheme of arrangement process. So you're looking for that. It's right down the bottom. It's one of the very last topics that is there. So hopefully that helps. Let's have a look at some more comments. Hatham says, how much cash we got in the bank, free cash flow? Oh, that one's right at the very top of my script. I can answer that, I promise. Let's get that there. Oh, I wonder if it's probably quicker to hit the reset button. Roll up as it rolls up. Welcome. Here we go. There's some gold. Da da da. Keep talking. Corporate scales. Gold. Here you go. What was your question? How much cash we got in the bank? Free cash flow. Free cash flow of 253 million Aussie dollars. And oh, there it is. It's a struggle when it's only on 4 lines. And what's happened is I've squashed it up so that it's narrowing the camera, so I'm not reading left to right or right to no, it's left to right. So we've got a free cash flow of 253 million Aussie dollars and a cash balance as of the 31st of December 2024 of 398 million Aussie dollars cash. I'll let somebody else do the oh, so we're debt free. I mean, that's the key part there. We are debt free. Gareth says his opinion ASX will tie up the vast majority of shares, making it stable. AIM traders should have little effect. So stability will the name of the game. I completely agree with that. I think the minute they rip the liquidity out of this by reducing the number of shares, makes it harder for shares to come by, which means there can be less moving of shares, rightly or wrongly, or nefariously or not, making it illiquid. And I think the share price can make a difference as well, because if you've got a 10p stock, and I'm using 10p as a round number, for every pound you put on, like if you take a 10p stock, you make a penny a share. I was going to do maths then. I don't even know why I was going to bother doing that. That's ridiculous. Basically, penny stocks are easy to make money with. I think that's the kind of the key part of that suggestion that I am making, right or wrong. That's what I believe. Lux P says, when's the new bathroom being installed? Dude, sore topic. Mrs. R wants a new bathroom, and if she saw her account, she would probably sell the shares today for it. But I needed to hang on as long as possible so that I keep these shares in the basket, because that's important, especially her shares. She's got the better average. Thank you for the comment about the microphone. It looks like a rocket. It does. It's very good, actually. Just don't touch it because it's so sensitive. Actually, what worries me is when the lawnmowers start up outside and I'm trying to record a show, because it's a area microphone and it picks up the distance as opposed to the close one. It's going to pick up the guys outside. It's going to kill my recordings, but we shall worry about that. Andrew says, we have a long way to go in this Greatland Gold journey. The community appreciates your time, knowledge and stewardship. We are having any other special guests. Was the offer open? Oh, Andrew, cheers to you. Thank you. That's very kind. Yeah, it's a community effort. I certainly don't do this alone anymore. We're all part of it. We all do the research. We all muck in. And when I look at what I used to do to what I do now, I do very, very little. Very, very little. There's so many people in this community that are just as deserved of the thanks for their time. I'm just the guy that appears on YouTube videos. But there's many, many people out there all working diligently and just for the same reason, just because they want to make sure that everybody has visibility of what's going on. I mean, that's the reason why I started doing what I'm doing, is because I wanted to never get caught short like I did with another share. Stuart, mate, if you're watching, I'm sorry you couldn't be here. You've had a busy week and a half. I know that for a fact. So I'm going to raise a glass to Stu as well because he would be here. So cheers to Stu. But you know what, Stu? Not being here was giving me a chance to experiment with something. I have no idea if it's worked or not. I'll find out when you guys feedback. But we've had context, we've had flow. That's important. So yeah, cheers to you, big man. Thank you. Um, mm, mm, mm. Harry says, thank you for donating your time to keep us informed. Along with all the other contributions, it's been a journey, worthwhile, and the way you lead the group. Harry, thank you. I've already said what I want to say that, but rest assured, there'll be at some point, there's going to be a party somewhere. I am going to get to the UK to film it. To film it? I mean, to film it would be nice, but to be part of it. And we'll have steak, that's for sure. Noob says 10p stocks just sound too minor to major investors compared to, say, a pound. Yeah, I think so. When you look at all the stocks, other stocks out there, all the serious name stocks are not 10p. They're pounds. That noise, Northern Lights alert. So, yeah, I think unless anybody else has got another question, I'm just going to wrap it up rather than waffle on for the sake of waffling on. We've all got to get up early tomorrow morning. If you want to watch Shaun and Rowan deliver their presentation, 6 o'clock, I will repin the link so it's there for you fresh first thing in the morning. And then I might have something else to do tomorrow that I won't talk about. Yeah, so just check in if anyone has got a question. No idea. Cheers. Hey, how's this for a statistic? And it blew my mind when I heard it earlier. My last video with Shaun, Aim on Air. If you've not found it, aimonair.com. It's my flagship company that interviews CEOs from AIM companies. I've only got one client at the moment, but the last video had 4,300 views. I'm thank you. All right, just thank you, every single one of you, for watching those videos. And they're not the videos that are qualifying for any kind of YouTube ad revenue. I don't get any ad revenue from YouTube for Aim on Air. Because apparently I don't put out enough content. Doesn't get any more quality than that. 4,300 views. It's crazy. Thank you. Yeah. So, you guys are the best. I miss talking to you like this. And the fact that I've now found a structured way of doing it without me waffling, because the more time I've spent interviewing with Shaun, the more I've realized that structure really helps production quality. All right, I've spent the first 10 years of my podcasting and broadcasting life, YouTube, riffing. All right, and I get that whilst it's humanistic, it doesn't always work, and there's the quality is lost. So yeah, it's given me some ideas for the future. We can do more of these. I'm confident. So at 23:15, I'm going to wrap it up. And what I don't have is an exit. And without an exit, I'm kind of stuffed. Where's the mouse gone? What's down the bottom? Now I've got to do a bazillion scrolls of the mouse wheel. My word, that is a lot of wordage. There you go. No, that's it. Well, thank you very much for watching GGP Help TV. I really appreciate your time. And I hope to see you again very, very soon with a guest. Let's find a guest and let's have an interview, because that's what I do. My name's Liam. You've been watching GGP Help TV. And I bid you good day. Bye for now. I don't know how to turn this off, so you'll just have to shut the window. Good night.